as you know, the difference between traders and investment bankers is night and day. I was the blue collar worker; you guys were the white collar workers. Explain to our audience how leveraged works. I was talking with one of our research analysts, Ariana Carosella, who called up the Mortgage Bankers Association yesterday, and she reported that only about 350,000 mortgages are currently in danger of foreclosure. That's out of a total pool of some 80.8 million mortgages. So that's about 4%, a little over 4%. If you were to give each one of those 350,000 homeowners $1 million check, that would be the total cost of that bailout of each one of those homeowners would be $350 million. And yet this bailout, when you add AIG and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, is pushing $1 trillion. So that begs the question, where's the other $650 billion going? And my answer is it's going to bail out the guys who securitized a lot of these mortgages and CMOs and CDOs and structured investment vehicles, and then on top of that wrote just astronomical amounts of credit default swaps. Please sketch that out for our listeners.
The number is huge. It is the direct cause of all of this. And in total scope, there might be $13 to $14 trillion of mortgages out there. The home values underneath those mortgages, the total aggregate residential home values, was about $25 trillion at its peak in 2006, beginning of 2006. That number already is off some 18 to 20% nationwide. In California, in certain cities, it's off 35% already. And by my estimates, we're kind of halfway through the housing price decline, although the recession it's going to cause is just starting. So that means the total housing price decline is going to be big. It's going to be in the $7-8 trillion range. And to remind your viewers, we only have a $14 trillion GDP. So these numbers with trillions involved are huge. And the $12 trillion of mortgages, trillions of them are going to get into trouble and default. So I don't know if the number is 1.5 trillion or 2 trillion, but it's a very, very big number. And it is the reason why, the order of magnitude has to be something in the $700 billion range to solve this. But having said that, I'm not a big proponent of the current plan. The current plan, like you say, is kind of a scattered shotgun approach where a lot of people that don't deserve being saved, get taken out of all sorts of losses. I don't know if it's just Americans don't understand how these companies are capitalized, but as you said, for every dollar of equity in some of our largest banks, commercial banks, there's $15 to $25 of debt and deposits behind them. And the federal government has insured the deposits, but there's no reason why the debt investors should be able to get out of these investors at 100 cents on the dollar. That's what we did in the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac rescue, and I was against that. It made no sense for the taxpayer to come in and take a $200 billion to $600 billion risk position while the $1.6 trillion debt investors got out at 100 cents on the dollar. And now we're going to do the same thing to what is probably $20 trillion of debt investors at our largest banks and investment banks. We're going to let them get out 100 cents on the dollar.
Is that going to?
And then, as you say, the entire problem is completely complicated by the credit default swap market.
Which is unregulated for the most part, for which there's no central clearinghouse, for which there's no exchange, and which I was looking at talking to some of my colleagues who trade that market. Some just on the Morgan Stanley, the credit default swaps written on Morgan Stanley bonds, some 12% were what's called tear-ups. Were just torn up as either duplicated trades, false trades, or fraudulent trades. Within one 24-hour period of time after the Fed came in and said, "What's going on here?" It jumped something like I think it jumped 290 basis points. It opened the day at I think the credit default swap was priced at about 590, 600, and jumped 290 points in one day. how can that market jump 40% and whatever in one day? Well, it's unregulated. A lot of those trades are duplicated, fraudulent, false, and I may add, just worthless paper, literally torn up. Any comments on that market?
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the non-fraudulent paper in that market. I mean, that market went from 140 billion 10 years ago to 60 trillion today. Mm-hmm. The numbers are mind-blowing. They were in a segment of the world called derivatives in securities like currency swaps and interest rate swaps, where the total notional amounts were very large, but the dollars at risk were not. But when they got into credit default swaps, the notional amounts very much were at risk, because that's the amount you owed if these companies went under. You were guaranteeing their corporate debt.
Let me ask you an obvious question, John. Where were our lawmakers and policymakers when that market grew some 100-fold in 7 years? I mean, that's the obvious. I know Barney Frank. I know staffers under Chris Dodd. These are good men. Where were they? Why didn't they know anything about credit default swaps a year ago?
Well, they're going to claim they didn't see it coming, right? And when you talk about 100 or 1,000-fold, a 500-fold increase in a market, it's hard to imagine you didn't see it coming. Look, you can claim the men are honorable men and are good men. The facts don't support that. The facts support that these people are being bribed by hedge funds, investment banks, commercial banks to look the other way, to not institute laws that were on the books. They allowed Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to leverage themselves 120 to 1. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's supervisor was a complete joke. The office called OFEO. And then worse, these new markets that should have been regulated were not. And sure enough, their biggest contributors to their campaigns, our congressman's biggest contributors, were the hedge funds, followed very quickly by the commercial banks and the investment banks. It's not a coincidence. It's not an oversight. They were paid not to regulate. They were paid to deregulate. In '99, they got rid of the Glass-Steagall law that allowed banks to do a lot of this stuff in the investment banking market of packaging securities. They can claim they thought that deregulation was good and was always good, and that markets didn't need regulation. Economics 101 will tell you that the foundation of any capital market, the foundation of any capitalist system, is the rule of law. You can't have people playing a game like Monopoly unless they've read the rule book first. And you